Doing a little happy dance. And we're
Definitely live.
live. Finally. Good morning, Lawrence. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Whatever Show.
Mm,
I'm Dana Dubois.
I'm Lawrence Winterman, and we just had the most frustrating Substack experience. Substack is changing things on the back end, and yeah, we were not going to go live correctly, so we had to fix things at the very last minute. So thanks for your patience, everybody. We are finally here.
Thank you for being brilliant, Lawrence, because I have no idea what you just did to make us magically go live with everything in place, but I'm grateful for it. We have a very exciting show today. We have this will hold here as
I'm
our
so
guest.
excited to talk to her. I have been reading her stuff for a while now. I mean, it resonates with me because yeah, well, we can talk about that when she's on air with us, but how are you, Dana?
I'm doing okay today, Lawrence. I'm doing okay. And I'm really happy you're feeling better. I know you were out yesterday. You sound 10 times better. I mean, yesterday when I talked to you, you were like, I can't go on air. So it's nice to see you
Yeah.
looking well. Are you feeling okay?
I'm feeling better. Thank you to some leftover Mexican antibiotics. And oh, I don't
We,
want you to spit out your coffee.
no, no, it's okay.
And
And it's
basically,
tea, Lawrence. It's tea.
right, always tea.
Always tea.
My, my secret I need to feel better recipe is climb back into bed and sleep for as many hours as humanly possible. And I pretty much did that yesterday. The cats thought it was like the best thing in the entire world.
Oh my,
Papa's in bed with us all day long. Yay.
oh my, it's the best heated bed ever.
Right. Right.
Oh, I
So,
love that.
yes, I'm feeling better. Thank you. Sorry to have
Good.
abandoned you yesterday, but I know you were in the capable hands of Karen Marie Shelton.
Yes, we had a great chat about my latest story, and it was really fun, but we missed you a lot.
Aw.
And I always come to you and there's something in the news, and I'm like, well, what do we think about this? My quick blip before we bring our guest on is news that a friend sent me that was like on the back page of Yahoo Finance. I don't know what page it was on. It's a web page. I'm speaking metaphorically about the fact that the U.S. government is now insolvent, according to the U.S. Treasury. We have ranked ourselves insolvent, Lawrence, and I made a short video about it yesterday and how the press isn't talking about that. We're focusing on the wrong things
Hmm.
in terms of our financial wellness. There was some big article this weekend about some 24-year-old student who went into so much debt from her new car loan that she had to declare bankruptcy, which was such a nothing of a rage bait story. And yet they're not reporting on the fact that the true entity making poor financial decisions is our government.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So if we were a private corporation or person, would we be insolvent? Absolutely. But we are a government that has the ability to print money. And
Yeah,
it's not that printing money is without consequence, it has absolute consequence. We are
right.
not technically insolvent in terms of, being a government. But we are in a massive, massive, massive amount of debt. Like it took
Right.
200 years for this country to get to the point where we had $1 trillion in debt. Our interest payment is now $1 trillion a year. Like we are in a
Yeah.
really bad place. And I would just like to point out for the record, if I may,
Yeah.
that when Bill Clinton, God bless his diddling little
Philandering
heart,
soul. Yeah.
philandering soul, right? When he left office, we had a surplus for the
Yeah.
first
I
time
remember.
in decades.
I remember.
And George W. Bush and 9/11 and the Iraq War and the Afghanistan War took real good care of that. It is only under Republicans that we amass gigantic amounts of debt.
Yes.
Every Democrat has shrunk the debt every time that they have been in office. Every Republican has massively expanded it, including St. Ronald Reagan. So I would
I
just like to
know.
point out that
Yeah.
are we $39 trillion in debt right now? No, I'm sorry. It's actually like $44 trillion in debt.
Yeah, it was the
because
article
we have
I
6
read.
trillion in assets.
We were 6 trillion in assets and nearly 48 trillion in debt. So
Right.
8 times,
Right. So,
eightfold. So that,
yes. The
uh,
the debt is thanks to Republicans. It always
wow.
has been and it always will be until we end them as a party forever, like this November.
Yeah, I sure hope so. This is what I can't wrap my brain around of like the messaging problem we always talk about that Democrats have and the difference between reality and what people perceive to be true. And how have we lost the messaging on who is fiscally responsible? I know
Honestly,
historically.
how do you lose the messaging on the economy when it is proven over the last
Well,
45 plus years that Republicans add to the debt and increase
yeah,
joblessness and Democrats reduce the debt and reduce joblessness? Like, honestly, every fucking time. It's just data. Go look at it. I'm not
yeah,
being political right here. I'm literally telling you to go look at the data, which is kind
right.
of a good segue into talking to our guest.
It's a great segue into talking to our guest. Why don't we bring T on right now?
Let's do it. Hello.
Oh,
Hello and good morning. You go by T, and your handle online is This Will Hold. That's
yeah.
I was I it felt funny addressing you as This Will Hold, but it's such a great name for a publication.
I,
Yeah, I why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to all the folks listening in at home?
yeah.
Um, who are you? What is This Will Hold?
So I'm T, as everyone has gotten to know me, and this will hold. Never could I have predicted that this is actually where we would be. The name actually came out of a organic moment when President Obama was elected the second time, and I was like, yes, this will hold. Like, we're on the right path,
Oh,
made it, and if you look at the acronym, TWH is also the White House. So it's kind of a
Ooh.
psychological, quirk there. And here we are all these years later, and everyone's like, this has got to hold. Like, what do we do now? And I'm like, oh my gosh, what a crazy experience. And of course, our Substack went viral because Elon Musk nuked our Twitter, and we had a huge following over there, and we were writing about the election, and that got taken down. And so we hopped over to Substack, and our first article just went poof, and here we are. So not even a year later, June 11th will be a year
Wow.
on Substack. So
that's incredible. April 24th will be our year.
and I'm obviously grateful to have the platform and our team, and we're just going to keep fighting the good fight and keep getting the message out. We've got over 15 million views now, and that's 15 million
incredible.
more people that know what's happened, and
Yeah.
that's where we are.
Can I just start by saying I love your necklace?
Oh,
The chunky pearl necklace is so great. It's so classy. I absolutely love it.
thank you so much. I
Um,
appreciate
so you write about the election results, the 2024 election results,
it.
but you also write about like everything from TSA lines to the Epstein files.
Hmm. Hmm.
How are all those things connected in your mind? Like,
Oh,
how do
great
they fit
question,
together?
Lawrence.
Yep. Well, and this is what's crazy, right? The Epstein files have shown us that it is literally all connected. And
Yes.
everything with this regime, we actually did a piece and we linked every single Epstein file. So we're all about bringing the receipts so that people can't be like fake news, so we linked all the receipts and the pieces put together. It's Epstein introducing Peter Thiel to his Russian handlers. And then with that, and, Zuckerberg and really just, and Elon Musk, all of them colluded with Russia in 2016. And if you remember, Hillary Clinton won by almost 3 million votes on the popular side, which in and of itself is a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that we're okay with like not getting the candidate who won by 3 million votes is reason for a revolution, frankly.
Yeah.
But that being
Yeah.
said,
Right. A whole other podcast on the Electoral College and
exactly.
how, yeah.
But it was 77,000 votes that separated them. And, she left 75,000 votes on the table in Michigan because the election equipment, 59% of precincts in Detroit in Black and brown neighborhoods experienced malfunctions, and they just let it go. Whether they call it, to preserve faith in the institution or whatever it is, she had several experts that year that were saying, hey, we have evidence of manipulation in several swing states. You got this. And they just chose to walk away from it. And, it's just mind boggling. But now that we've been able to unpack so much more, going all the way back, I mean, truly, election interference is part of this country. It has been happening since we became a country. It's just gotten more advanced. And then to see everything with the 2000 election, the 2004 election, it is literally all connected, and it always has been. And
Yeah.
Epstein has been part of it, from 2016 forward.
It does seem like,
Yeah.
I mean, I know Dana and I have talked about this a lot personally and then on air as well, that like it seems at every turn we've all sort of been like, oh no, like we're not going to let this happen, right? Like, oh, he's not going to actually win, is he? Oh, he won? Like we're not just going to walk away from that, right? And like at every turn it's sort of been like, I don't know, like we're in a movie, right? And we're,
Yeah.
Mhm.
driving off a cliff, and at every moment we're kind of like, oh no, we're gonna drive off the cliff, and it's like you're literally holding the wheel. Like we we can save ourselves. Turn the car.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, I can't. I'm gonna drive off the cliff. Oops, I did it. What do I do now?
Mhm.
Oh my God, Lawrence. I just had this vision of us as like Thelma and Louise.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
totally.
if you're Thelma or I'm Thelma, but off we go over the cliff. I want to click back like 3 points from your introduction, T. Um, when you mentioned getting nuked off of Twitter by Elon Musk,
Mm.
we've got folks in the chat being like, wait, what happened? Can you go back and talk about, like, walk us through kind of what you were doing on Twitter,
Mhm.
how Elon became aware of you, how you got kicked off, and then what it's been like coming to Substack? I know that's a multi-part question, but tell us all the tea.
So I ended up in a rabbit hole. I was actually writing a book, basically on how we got here. My family for the longest time has been begging me to do a YouTube and to teach civics and government, and to help people understand basically what you were saying earlier, Lawrence, about how Republicans truly are the crux of all the problems. And I had ended up in, I was, like people think Heritage Foundation, who are these new people? Like, no, they've been here since Reagan. Like,
Right.
they 40-year long plot to destroy democracy, truly. And
Right.
so,
Where do you think your Supreme Court judges come from, people? The
right.
Heritage Foundation.
Yep. So as I was unpacking it, I end up on a subreddit, and this person's like, can you believe that Elon Musk is partners with the company that has access to 70% of our voting equipment? And I was like, what? So I end up in that rabbit hole. And the more I dug and the more I found the connections, and then I see Leonard Leo sold this equipment company, something light. It just went out of my brain. I'm sorry. I have chemotherapy brain right now, so I'm a little foggy. Trip Light sold Trip Light to a company by the name of Eaton. Eaton was already partners with Peter Thiel and Palantir. And then right before the election in the summer of 2024, they became partners with Elon Musk, and they have access to 70% of the voting equipment. And I'm freaking out, digging. And so I just put this whole chain together. And back up even further, I was in the military for a very long time. And so Elon Musk, back when Russia was the enemy, I mean, they're still the enemy, of course.
Right,
But
right. But
back
when we used to say that
back
out loud.
the Murder, She Wrote, we're like, oh no, the Russians, like way back. So,
Excellent Gen X reference there with
Yeah.
you.
here and this reality right now. So those of us in the military at the time, we never took eyes off Russia, first of all. And then Elon Musk back in 2001 was like, hey, we need to be friends with Russia. And we're all like, who's this guy and why is he talking like this? That is a hard no. So he's always been on the radar for me. I've never trusted him. And then you get to where he gets handed space basically by Rohrabacher, Putin's favorite rep, in the mid 20 teens
Right.
frame. And here we are now, and we find out he's been communicating with Putin for a couple of years. He's supplying Starlink to their troops. So he's in the bag for treason. And it all just connected together. So then I was like, he bought Twitter 49 days after Putin invaded Ukraine, converted it into a pro-Trump, pro-Russia dumpster fire. And then beyond that, when he bought it, it wasn't even for sale. So unsolicited bid at 20 billion over market. So you don't do that unless you have an agenda. And just the timing and everything, I was like, this dude is he's up to something. This is not a coincidence. And of course, here we are.
Yeah.
And
I
I
think people
put
forget.
the whole long chain together of all the events and put it out there, and it went, viral. And that Substack had been around again since 2012. So it was ginormous. Like, it was bigger than, not Substack, I'm sorry, that Twitter. It was bigger than this platform that I have here. And it got taken down, like, boom.
Wow.
Tried forever to get it reinstated. They said I was a spam account or whatever, a fake account. And I'm like,
Really?
people are on this account. Look how long it's been active. I've been working on legislation for over a decade. Here I am in Congress. Here I am in all these different, state houses. What is happening? What do you mean I'm a fake account? And I could never get it back. So I
Wow.
licked my wounds a little and then hopped over to Substack, and here we are.
I know. And do you remember, like, how big was your Twitter account? Because you're pretty huge here on Substack, especially for how short a time you've been here, 59,000 plus and number 50 in world politics today. I just looked.
Right. That number's funny. Whenever I put out a post about the election, it goes shunk. And then
Yeah.
I'm talking about regular stuff, and it's like, we don't want to hear that. Right back down. So,
Yeah.
I don't remember, but I could look. I mean, it was really, really big. That thread alone had like over 1 million people, on the, like, where it shows you all the stats.
Yeah.
So, but it is what it is. I mean, I'm grateful for this platform, obviously, because there's so many less trolls. Every now and then we get one, and we have to blast them. And I've got a team that, we've got 62 people on the team now. So some of them.
Oh, that was my next question, was you keep saying we?
Yep. So we're coast to coast, and we're all volunteers. It's all, kind of built from the Common Coalition in the beginning. And there was a handful of us working on legislation. And then as we got into this election lane, it got bigger and bigger. And
wow.
We want to help. How can we help? Statisticians, tech experts. Our tech experts are the ones that, one of our tech experts, before the 2024 election, when Musk started building the low Earth orbit satellite structure, it was April of 2024, and he said Elon Musk is going to steal the election. And in hindsight, I'm like, oh, because I was like, no, you think like something that big? And he's like, oh, absolutely. These satellites are capable of so much more than people even realize. And here we are. So
we do have, people forget, a video of Peter Thiel from 2010 addressing a conservative conference, basically saying the way that we get beyond democracy and being in a permanent minority position because people won't listen to us is to use technology to steal elections. Like, he basically says it on camera.
I've seen that, and because they realize how unpopular their policies are.
Right.
If this country converted to paper and hand counts, Republicans would never win another seat. I mean, that is
and into the rational, election districts, not gerrymandered all to hell, and
Yep.
Oh gosh,
I feel this. You're seeing me in real.
Something crossed my mind and I lost it. Go ahead, Dana.
Okay, I'm laughing because I think you're seeing me in real time. Like, this is what happens when I see you post new content, T. I just, like, I'm looking right now at the headline for "She Won, Florida Used a Fake County Vote Bank in the 2024 Election," and I'm like, because I want that to be a headline in the New York Times.
Right.
Sure.
I want that to be. I feel like I'm reading like alternate reality news. I mean, I'm reading your reporting, your team's reporting, and it's like, it's emotional. It's confirmation bias. I mean, Lawrence can tell you. So Lawrence and I have been friends for 47 years. We're like, we go way, way, way back to grade school. And we watched all these election returns come in together. And in 2016, I was like, there's no way that this really happened. Like, I, the gut read on all of every time the 2 times he's won has just been like, no. And now you have this army of folks doing research, coming to these conclusions. So I'm not coming up with a question yet because you're hearing my like, I get really emotional, even though what you're presenting is very logical because
Well, it is
I,
emotional though. It's an
Yeah.
emotional subject for sure.
it
Like,
is.
how human.
And the question that is coming out of it is like, what next? You're doing great work. You're getting great visibility here on Substack. What is your hope for what comes next?
Well, part of why we've focused on the math is
Yeah.
because it removes, the term conspiracy theory. You cannot argue with math. It's not emotional. It's not, I think, or maybe. It is, here are the numbers.
Right.
And so we shifted gears from, hey, this technology can do this, and these things are all capable. And look at what a garbage human being Trump is. And he was probably heading to prison, as was Elon Musk. All the pieces are in place for them to steal the election. Of course, they stole the election, but we can't get past the election denial of 2020. We are trying to reframe it and help people understand, hey, in 2000, when Bush supposedly won, reset your reality. Because while we were all focused on hanging chads, something they actually orchestrated, the GOP, and Dan Rather did a big expose on it, 6 million votes disappeared. We had election equipment even then. It came in with far right alignment in the late 90s. So it wasn't even the, however many 487 votes or however many he supposedly, won that the Supreme Court handed him. Where did the 6 million people go? So there's that. And then in 2004, again, Ohio, the head of Diebold is literally said, we're going to give Bush the election. The Secretary of State in both Florida and Ohio were Bush's campaign managers in those states.
Mm-hmm.
So all of the pieces are here for them to be stealing elections. But because we're in this, they're the bad guys for denying elections and filing 64 suits, and we're not going to go there. And Democrats have said, for years, everything's secure, everything's fine, nothing to see here. Now we're like, we're just going to go with the math. Here's the math. And our next piece, I'll just put it out here now. Nobody even knows this yet. We've been able to determine that Florida took out 2.5 million votes. So what would Florida look like with those? Well, it's actually like 2.4, just a hair under. But what would Florida look like with those votes? Because we know they had to back into that number. And so then we just added up all the votes along the timeline, and we can see where they're pulling all the votes out. And Florida is absolutely fabricated. There's nothing real about it, about those numbers.
Well,
so
to
we
that
want
end,
people to focus on the numbers, because we hope that that's going to be the thing that, like you said, in New York Times, and I've actually done interviews with a handful of major publications, and the stories keep getting killed. So maybe the math will be the thing for them to come back and say, okay, we can do the story now. Give us what you got. That's really cool. But even Midas can't even get them to talk about it, which is infuriating, because they're supposed to be left leaning, right? And so every time someone gets let go from their station or whoever they were working for, a journalist, we run and we're like, okay, you're free now. You want to talk about this? And they're like, oh no, I've signed with Midas Touch. And I'm like, oh.
I want to dig into, because I think this is important, right? Because I think it some people, their natural instinct to hearing some of these things might be to like roll their eyes and be like, oh, crazy conspiracy theorist or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I can't wait for your next piece now, because I really want to see that, what you found about the 2.4 million votes.
Sure,
but in your first election piece, or the big election piece, you claim that there's an NSA authorized audit, right? Proving that Harris won. And you said in the article, it's 100% Pentagon certified. And I guess just out of fairness of asking the question, kind of big claims require big evidence sort of thing. And what is your standard right? Of like, what are you looking for so that you can say, like, I'm comfortable publishing this because
Mhm.
this is a big claim, you
Right.
know?
Well, the first whistleblower was a former CIA operative. And so, first and foremost, before we move forward with anything, we vet whoever's coming to the table. And so, of course, we did all of that to confirm that he was who he said he was. And then other people on the team as well. It wasn't just him, it was, backed up by other folks that helped. And we actually have another whistleblower who has just come forward last week who said he worked to help steal the election. Like he was on the team that helped steal it. So we're vetting him right now. So we've got a lot that's about to come out. Yeah. So we went through all that. And I think one of your questions was, why did you go with math versus whistleblowers and documents and all that? And my point there is that we had the whistleblowers and people still challenge it and they don't believe him, to the point where there's a lunatic over on Substack who's like, his LinkedIn doesn't say CIA, so it's a lie. It's like, who's going to put that out there?
Nobody puts CIA in there.
I'm a secret spy.
Yeah.
They're writing like that, like bro talk LinkedIn, like what I learned at work.
Just, and calls us Russian disinformation. I'm like, hi, I served this military for over a decade. Like, I bleed red, white, and blue. As fractured as we are as a country, democracy is sacred. And that's why I'm here, because I have an oath to the Constitution. And the American people are an extension of that promise, as are our allies. So that's what keeps me going, is knowing that this is the greatest experiment and we have uncovered all of this. And for the people who want to use the term conspiracy theory, my point here is that conspiracies are real. If we've learned nothing else from the Epstein files, QAnon was right. Like, yes, there's a cabal of wealthy pedophiles running the government. They're just mostly Republicans.
Right. Exactly. Right. It wasn't a pizza shop in New Jersey or whatever, like, and Hillary Clinton. It was Donald Trump.
Right. It was your dudes. QAnon. Congrats.
And every single time the Epstein files get really heated up and there's a lot of energy around it, there's an emergency that distracts everybody from it. The ear injury in 2024, and then the Republican Party is walking around with baseball
maxi pads on their
pads
heads,
taped to their ears, right?
Faces. Yeah. So that, and then Charlie Kirk was assassinated. There was a lot of heat around Epstein then, and then just with us bombing and getting into war with Iran, that story had just broken about the 14-year-old who had been interviewed by the FBI 4 times, and the files were deleted, and the energy around that had gotten, it's like crescendo, and let's bomb Iran. And when people are like even arguing that it wasn't a last minute decision, I have the text messages where they didn't alert our own troops until 8 hours after they started bombing. So to say it wasn't a knee-jerk reaction or it wasn't last minute or whatever, like absolutely it was. We didn't even inform our own troops that we were about to do it.
As Dana likes to point out, we didn't even evacuate Americans in the region.
Nope.
We were basically like, oh, oops, try to get a commercial flight home.
Yeah. That was, there was no further proof I needed that this was not well planned than the news. I think we attacked over the weekend, and I think it was in the news Tuesday or Wednesday that Marco Rubio was like, Americans in these 16 countries, get out, but we can't help you. Catch a flight.
Sorry about your bad luck. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
Oh, are you in Dubai and the airport shut down? Oops.
February 28th, and no one got any warning at all.
But definitely leave.
Yeah.
This is your government talking. Definitely get out. We just were, at the time we were like, oh, this was like the late night text thread, he and BB being like, well, if you don't attack, I'm going to attack. Well, I don't want you to attack, and I'm not going to attack.
Truly, that's yeah. So again, to those people who don't, and again, we don't want to believe it. We don't.
Right.
There is an inherent need to, and psychologists have studied this for years, to trust our government. We view them as like a parent figure, right? And so when all this comes out, it's like, oh no, we even call Kamala Mamala. Come on, So who wants to admit that our parents are lying to us, right? So it's a hard thing to chew in the first place. But when you really look at just the data as it's spread out over the course of the last 26 years, it's just irrefutable. It's all there. And how many times are we going to say, ESNS is having equipment glitches are to blame for this? I mean, even Jasmine Crockett's race in Texas, there are counties
Right.
that are doing recounts because Democrats had 0 votes. Again, it's ESNS. And so far, she's been awarded a whole county because she had 0 votes and she actually won it. So now it's like, and again, they're saying it's glitches. Well, it was glitches with Hillary Clinton. It's always glitches with these election equipment companies. And then you find out that the EAC, who's actually supposed to be, protecting our votes and holding these election equipment companies, to specific standards, instead of doing that, they're colluding with them. There's a lawsuit filed where they posted the regulations of what was going to happen with our election equipment and those companies. And then they're having secret meetings on the side and went back and took out several line items like we don't have to lock up our equipment anymore. That's no longer a regulation. When they're having no more cybersecurity experts aren't required. They don't even have cybersecurity experts, these vendors. They just tell them, hey, we need a patch installed, go do it. Those people aren't cybersecurity experts. They just go do it. So they're doing the bidding of them. And so the EAC is being sued for deliberately making our elections less secure, making our equipment more vulnerable. People need to understand that it's not a conspiracy theory if it's true.
And
that's
I
probably
think
our
that
biggest fight.
Yeah.
part of, I mean, I don't know, I'm speculating, kind of thinking out loud. I also think part of the resistance is just the oh shit, what do we do if we in fact discover that it is true that the election was stolen? Because our Constitution has literally no mechanism within it to
Right.
Yeah.
be like, oh, you swore in the wrong person. That
Right.
person is not actually
Nice.
president. There are plenty of, I know for a fact that there are conservative legal theorists who would say, well, maybe he didn't win, but he did get sworn in as president, and so he is technically president. I
Yeah.
don't know. Do you think about that piece of like the remediation?
We do. So the states have the power right now. And really, what needs to happen is a state attorney general needs to open an investigation into DDHQ, ESNS, Elon Musk, the Doge Boys, Peter Thiel. They need to be looking at, all of the logs, seeing where the breaches were on election night and who was doing it. And treason needs to be on the table because we know that it's in alignment with Russia. And some of those Doge boys are real young and they have a long life to live. And truly, if it was me, I'd be like, treason's on the table. Whoever wants to let us know what happened first gets the best deal. Discuss amongst yourselves, because
Right.
that's really, there's that. And then as far as the removal piece, there are constitutional avenues to remove them. And Section 3 of the 14th, the disqualification clause, a stolen election is a rebellion against the Constitution. I mean, this is not the voice of the people. We are not being properly governed.
Yeah.
And if you really want to look at it from the perspective of the Declaration of Independence, it says, there's literally in there, it says if we are not being properly governed, we have the right to remove the
Yes.
government and reinstate, what we need. So, throw some tea in the harbor. It's go time. And that's just kind of where we are at this point. And again, it's got to start with the states. We do have another weapon in the toolkit as far as states are concerned, in that state legislators and state electeds have to get bonds. And we can go old school back, when during civil rights, they would file against bonds because they weren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. Their first objective as an elected individual is to protect the people. And what they're doing is not protecting the people. They're ignoring all of this. And so we can go en masse and file against their bonds and, make them feel it, hit them where it hurts. I hate to go that route because I adore some of these attorneys general, but how much longer are we going to do this? And then beyond that, are we really looking at November as when you have an entire administration who's likely facing criminal charges? Are we really deluding ourselves to think that they're not going to do everything they can to prevent Democrats flipping. The whole Fulton County situation, the reason they went in there and grabbed those ballots is to target John Ossoff's seat, Senator Ossoff, because Elon Musk doesn't have data. He doesn't have the bodies to fill the vote bank because the people there didn't fill out anything, for him. Nobody got on Elon Musk's side. Well, I mean, a handful, maybe, like some, but that I think Biden won that district by over 70%. It is hard blue, and that they need volume. They need people. So if you can't get the voter rolls turned over, because that's how they're doing it now, and you can't get people to sign up on the website, what do? You go in and you illegally steal the ballots. Now you got everybody you need. You can put them in the vote bank. So
Wow.
it's hard to believe, but we see that they did it in Florida, and now we're figuring out how they did it in the other states by backing into those numbers too.
Do you do you fear for your safety ever?
I have stage 3 cancer. No. I mean, and I mean, again, off of and out of everything you can imagine. Being in the military as long as I was, I just wasn't wired for fear, frankly. I wasn't. And getting this cancer diagnosis has made me even more, let's go. I got nothing to lose at this point, and I'll be damned if democracy is going to go down, in flames without, me and my team doing everything we can. Now, that said, the team is, they work under the condition of anonymity. Everybody is, behind me. I don't want any of them to move forward. So.
Oh my gosh, you are an American hero.
Yeah.
I'm realizing as we're talking, I don't know a ton about your background. As much as you're comfortable sharing, what is your professional background and that made you suited to do this kind of work?
Well, between the military and, I've always been democracy and justice oriented. And interestingly, along the path, when I joined the military, I wanted to go into religion. I wanted to be a chaplain assistant, and ended up working out. So I ended up being medical, and then we worked hand in hand with a lot of intelligence units, and it just sort of grew from there. I mean, I've had a very interesting life and background. I was actually on Ross Perot's last flight out of Iran during the hostage crisis. So I guess life has just kind of always been like, even my mother would say I was born backwards and upside down. Like, it's called sunny side up. So yes, nothing about from birth forward has ever been boring. But I'm just not wired for fear, and I work with students and helping them, adjust their writing and, getting into college. And I do some tutoring, again, very heavy on the civics and government, and working in legislation, health and food deserts. That sort of thing has really been my burning, like, we got to get food to people, right? That's literally the very first rung on the ladder. And we're not feeding children, how can we expect them to be learning? They're not going to be focusing on their pencils and paper. They're going to be focusing on how hungry they are. So legislation and being in and around politics for so long, and it just kind of morphed into this. So
remarkable. I want to bring up from the chat. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm cutting you off. Keep going.
No, go ahead. No, I was just going to say, and the rest of it, I've got like 37 plants and a bunch of rescue animals. And, I'm shocked that my cats haven't gotten up here yet. Will they?
Mine too. Yeah.
Oh, we love when you can see my dog's actually being quite quiet today, but you can see she's right behind me here. Is the cat back there too? Oh, you can barely see my cat, but she's like way back on the curtain. Oh, which is not closed. You can see the mess.
Lots of questions in the chat, T, about how to volunteer to work with you.
Oh, just they can either comment on the best way would just be to send a DM through
a Substack DM.
Yep. And really, because our team is anonymous, the area that we need the most help. Well, we're actually bringing on some more statisticians because we found we found some more stuff that we want to dig into. But also social media, because they are not active and out there. So they
Right.
like, we just need people to help us cross post the articles so we can get as many eyes on everything as possible. And so folks that are willing to
Okay.
do that, I mean, it's not hard. It's like if you just went on 5 platforms a day and posted a couple of articles, I just feel like this will continue growing. We know in July of last year, Democrats were at 41%, as far as 41% believe that the election was stolen. I got to tell you, if they redid that poll right now, I'd say it's over 50%, just because of everything that's come out over the course of the last year. I mean, even Donald Trump, I think on Sunday, put out a Truth Social message and said they allowed James Tallarico to win in Texas. I mean, that kind of dialogue, it's like, once again, they're telling us they have
Right.
ownership of the equipment.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, your story, your message resonates with me because I like to think I'm a pragmatic person and not prone to, wild and crazy thoughts. But I remember both election nights, right? I remember the assassination attempt, and look, kind of my
Yeah.
immediate reaction to
Right
all of
here.
that was, as somebody who, I'd like to think I have a pretty refined, gut instinct, was just like, no.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
none of that makes sense. He won all the swing states by just enough
Right.
votes. Like,
Right.
come on.
Yep.
So
Well, and mathematically, when you look, we did a piece on that. The devil's in the data. I think it was like the 3rd or 4th piece, and that alone. So all of the swing states just above the threshold for an automatic recount, and 88 counties flipped red and none flipped blue. We can have a whole other conversation about the number 88, but the fact that it was
right,
that
we
number,
could.
come on. But that none flipped blue. I mean, even Ronald Reagan didn't do that. And Ronald Reagan wasn't an adjudicated sexual predator and 34 count convicted felon who may or may
Right.
not be a pedophile back
Right.
then. Now we know he's a pedophile. And
Right.
it's like, how's this guy beating Ronald Reagan? Come on. That, from a logical standpoint, in and of itself, is something to think about. But when you drill into the math, and not even talking binomial math, if we just go on a 50-50 here, and which is generous towards Trump, it's 1 in 50 octillion chance of that being a natural occurrence that didn't have assistance. That is 28 zeros.
I
So
was going to say, can you say that number again? 1 in octillion?
50 octillion. So in any world that's not governed, by magic, that's governed by math, it's 0. There's a 0% chance. 1 in
Right.
50 octillion is 0. So it's just crazy that we're here, and then beyond that, I mean, how many times have they told us, the vote counting computers, Elon, all of that. They keep, as malignant narcissists do, they keep bragging about it. It's like they pulled off the greatest heist in history.
Right. Like,
They want
it's
to be able
killing
to
him
talk
that he
about
can't
it.
brag about it.
Yeah.
Right.
So I
We're
spoke to
ready. I think
When
we both
you're-
have our wrap-up questions. I can see it in your face, Lawrence.
I do.
You want to you go for it.
Well, okay. So T, when you were answering the question about fear and you revealed that you have stage 3 cancer, I could hear you kind of struggling with your own mortality, right? The thing that all of us kind of do. And I'm wondering, and God willing, you are here for 100 more years, right? Like, all best wishes and hopes of healing to you. But you must be thinking about wanting to see success, right? And wanting to see the positive outcome from your efforts. And I'm wondering what success looks like for you. Like, what would be the outcome that would make you, like, set down your tea and be like,
we did it.
we did it. Yeah.
It would be prison sentences for all involved, and the reinstallation of democracy, because based on what we've discovered, all of this information, democracy for us is a facade, truly. And I can't go out on this note, so I will be here until.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, I come from a line of strong-willed women. My grandmother was diagnosed with lung cancer at 64 in February. of the year she died, and the doctor said she had less than 6 weeks, and she said, "I'll be here for Thanksgiving." And he laughed it off and told us all to get her affairs in order. That woman died on Thanksgiving Day. So when I tell you I will be here to see this through.
I believe
I may
you.
die right after, but damn it, not on my watch. But it would be investigations, and this is not the first time we've been here as a country. These, oligarchs and obscenely wealthy people have tried to do this before, to Roosevelt, actually, to FDR, and ironically, J.P. Morgan was involved in that one as well. And we keep letting them off the hook. What's the guy's in Florida? Rick Scott, the biggest Medicare and Medicaid fraud in history, and he gets away unscathed. The dude belongs in prison.
Right.
So we have got to get heavy on the justice. It's the Department of Injustice and has been for a long time. So, laying out that, getting everybody in prison who belongs in prison. And then, frankly, we have to do things that we've never done before. We need to limit capitalism. And I know nobody wants to hear that, but
No,
we need
I want to hear that.
absorb the Nordic model, bring it over.
Right,
they're
right.
happiest place in the world.
Capitalism with regulations
Yes.
actually works and makes
Exactly.
people freer. Capitalism as we've got it now is, feudalism under a different name.
Yep. So when I say do things that we've never done, like take these companies, Palantir and all of Elon Musk's ventures, and sell them for parts and redistribute that wealth back into the country, to the middle and working classes, and help these farmers who are losing everything. And I think, to your point, Lawrence, what you were talking about before, what the Republicans do as far as, giving themselves all these tax breaks and the harm that they're causing, it's their way of creating their own generational wealth. They crash the economy, and then they do it, by measures that take a year or two to catch up as far as fiscal policy. So while Democrats have the mop out cleaning up after them, they're swooping in and buying everything. They're buying businesses that go defunct. They're buying all the farms and all the land. They're buying all the homes. And, here we are, and they keep doing it. So we need to.
And then as Democrats are cleaning up, they're yelling like, everything is broken. It's like, yeah, buddy, you broke it.
Yeah. Yeah. And Tom Hartman, one of my favorite political analysts and best-selling authors, calls it the double Santa strategy. And it's true. I mean, it's exactly what they do. They give themselves this big gift, and then they go in and they swoop up and buy everything. And then they blame the Democrats because it takes that long for the inflation to catch up. And we do know they've been manipulating elections, but we also see that there's a large percentage of the population that watches Fox and thinks it's all true. So, Republicans are terrible. So that would be my, again, to break down these companies, redistribute the wealth, get us into a place of real democracy that works for everybody, and fix the broken ladder, because the first two rungs are broken, which are food access and education. And we can thank Reagan for that. So
right. And then
1000%.
housing, right? And we know that Finland fixed homelessness, right? By basically saying you get a home. No strings attached. You have a home.
Yep. And if we took all this wealth, these obscenely wealthy people, if we put a cap on capitalism, I feel like I need to say that more. And we would have the ability to do that. And we owe the American people, the government owes the American people, from the perspective of not maintaining the guardrails to keep us safe. We should not have poverty like we do. We should not have homelessness. We should not have veterans on street corners who can't get anything. It's just, it's obscene.
Lawrence has a Lawrence's initiative is that no one gets to be a billionaire, and that if you hit 9999999, that you get a trophy that says congrats, you won capitalism, and then you don't get any more money.
But it's a plastic trophy, right? Like it's a cheap,
like a
that you would
gumball
hand out
machine
to an
trophy.
elementary schooler, and it's like, congratulations, you won capitalism. Everything over $999 million goes back to the state. And if you're not okay with that, then you're just a greedy fuck.
Yeah.
Right. You don't need more than this. You're good.
Oh, like that money is going to be generational. Their great grandchildren are have to work. So it's crazy that we've let it get this far out of hand. And again, back to the Democrats and what they've permitted. When you start digging into open secrets and you see the financial, who's contributing to who, it's like they're all the same. One of my cats is wanting to play. I just jumped on one of them yesterday because he's pushing for Palantir, for all the Palantir stuff to stay in place, and he's a Democrat. And he's also admitted that Russia has infiltrated our elections 3 times, twice successfully, to get Trump elected. He sits on 2 security committees. He's the chair of one. And I'm just crazy over this situation. So I go and look at who is contributing to him. There are 5 people from the Epstein files writing him checks. So and so back to the whistleblowers and what they had to say in July, the NSA audit proved she won, and it was buried, and it's all tied to the Epstein files because their wealthy donors who write the checks would be going down, and no one's willing to stop protecting their purse to protect the American people. And that, to quote Joker on Batman, this town needs an enema. Damn right. I mean, it is, we got to flush it all out. If you are not if you're not a Mom Donnie, get out. Or a Bernie.
I like that. It's isn't it so disheartening? Like, I think about this a lot as a mom. I have 2 teenage daughters. Realizing that, like, when men, not all, but when most men come into these upper echelons of wealth and power, their instinct is to subjugate young women and girls, to sexually assault them. Like,
and to want more money and power, more money, power, and girls, basically.
It's
guns, gold, and women.
Yes, and how pervasive and how sorry, my vocabulary just totally disappeared, but how there's been no consequence.
Right.
Like, it's so dismaying bringing girls.
5 administrations, 5 departments of injustice have been in place, and this has gone on truly since Bush. And that is disheartening. Now that we have some light on it, I do believe we're heading in the right direction. And I mean, if you think about us as a species, and I tell this to the girls that I'm helping with their college stuff all the time, always travel in packs, always park under lights, take a couple of self-defense courses. And then beyond that, always remember we are the only species that has to mate with our only natural predator. So think about it and just never leave your drink unattended. And just always safety first. Like, I'm the safety queen. I'm also 6 feet tall. So I tend to be protective of everyone around me, but just always thinking of, if you're in unfamiliar circumstances or places, don't have too much to drink. I mean, just always be thinking safety because of this fact. They are our only natural predator.
Oh my God, that's chilling.
And then I'm not disheartened, because it heartens me to know that we got it right. We got it right in 2016. We got it right in 2024. And damn it, this will hold. Like, we got it right. We just got to fix it. So,
oh my gosh, your optimism in spite of it all is so heartening. Thank you. We do have one final question that we ask all our guests when they come on the Daily Whatever show for the first time. A very hard-hitting question.
Right. It's
no, it's not.
To end on, no, it's not hard-hitting. It's a fun question. I'm queuing it up. That typically means my partner in crime here is going to launch the question over.
So T, Dana and I are both very solidly Gen X, and we're not asking, but what do you think, even if you are not Gen X, what do you think is the most Gen X song of all time?
Oh gosh, I am Gen X, but I'm also such a music lover. That's hard.
Right. think you're watching a film and it's set of the era. What song is playing in the background?
I mean, all I see is like Molly Ringwald and everything from all those movies, all the
Yep.
movies,
Hmm.
all of them did. But I'm also so for me personally, I'm like the biggest Prince fanatic. So all I hear is, Little Red Corvette and Purple Rain.
Nice.
Oh, I can't land on just
Totally great answers. If
Yes.
that's where you want to land, those are great answers.
all of them. And then the Mario Brothers theme song, ding, 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 because
Oh my
Oh my God, that's so true, right? Like no
God.
one has ever made that connection before, but there is absolute, yeah,
Right? It's like a sleeper cell. Like any Gen X person hears it and perks up and looks around.
right. Are
Yeah,
we playing Mario Brothers? Huh?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do,
that's
do, do.
so true.
And I
Chris
loved
in the chat says Raspberry Beret.
the movie Footloose, so I'll be in the market and I'll hear, any of that soundtrack come on, and I'm like, yeah. Everybody's looking at me like, what? This lady, whatever she's having, I'll have it when Harry met Sally. So
Yes.
yeah, so I'm firmly in that same category, and frankly, I think Gen X, like, we're going to be the ones to do this because we're still feral. I mean,
Yeah.
I
Right.
was,
I,
as
I totally agree with
to
you.
your point, like, we're just built different. So
Yeah,
if
absolutely. Like
folks
we
find
had
themselves
to,
in trouble, find yourself a Gen X person. We'll get you out of it.
yep, yep. I love
Right?
it.
We're the multi-hyphenates and we're the ones who look around corners. So the work, like when Lawrence was doing his whole preface, I'm like, you do look younger, but also I'm like, that you're Gen X. Just the work you're doing, it's clear to me that you've got
One
that
of
whole like
us.
one
One
of
of
us vibe.
us.
Yes. One of us. T, it has been so great getting
Yes.
to chat with you the last
Yeah.
hour. Thank you so much for coming on our humble little podcast. And you've gotten, I don't know if you've been keeping up with the chat, it goes by very quickly, but so many people are thanking you for your work and calling you a
Oh,
hero.
of course.
And
No,
um,
the team and I were happy to be here, happy to serve. I mean, we're the little Substack that could, and
yes,
hopefully the more of this math that we're able to unpack, we'll have some of those, real journalists and reporters circle back and want to do another story, because the more people who are aware of what really happened, that's how the change is going to happen, because we're going to be the ones to push our electeds in the states to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And then we do the next right thing, and then we do the next right thing until we get it right. And I firmly believe that we will.
By the way, do you read Ellie Leonard here on
yeah.
Substack at all?
Yes.
Yes.
And
Have
every
you
once
met
in a while,
her?
I'll
I
cross
feel
something
like you and Ellie,
Yeah, you and Ellie should
should
totally
absolutely
meet
meet.
Yeah, I love her. Well, we've been on a couple of when
live.
yes, on a couple of those
Nice.
together, and I know she's mostly focused on the Epstein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do some digging too when we're not again, a team of 62, and some of them have different interests. By no means am I cracking any whips, so
Right.
they'll bring stuff over and be like, oh my gosh, we found this, and so I just zip it over to Ellie. And
Nice. Oh, that's great. That's
Okay.
kind of where I was going. Like, if
Yes,
not, you're like, you
connectors.
should. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so
Yeah,
good.
I adore her.
Amazing.
Yeah.
A few last comments before we go. Kathleen is saying to share social media information again. I'm not sure which social media information, Kathleen, but message me or message This Will Hold, and we can get that for you. And Mabel's asking if you can do a Zoom soon. Do you know what that means? Do you host Zoom calls?
We did a Zoom
Okay.
over the summer we called it the She Won Zoom, to just explain to folks what down ballots should look like versus what they did look like in 2024, several
Okay.
different methods of how they might have hacked it, and what we can do moving forward, which is really just spreading the word. Because again, this is a people-driven movement, and that's how we're going to affect the change, is by letting, our legislators need to be put on notice at both the state and federal level that you're not doing your number one job, which is to protect us. And that includes protecting our elections. And
Yes.
all of this is real, like the EAC and the garbage that they're doing. And why are we okay with far right interests owning our election equipment companies? That's
Right.
crazy in and of itself. How have Democrats not been on the floor of Congress doing everything they can to change that? So just all of the above. So the more people that understand how it's all working or not working, frankly, and what needs to happen to fix it is how we're going to get there, and preferably before November, because again, I think we're really naive to think that they're not going to do everything they can
I
to
completely agree, right?
do
Yeah.
Like he's proven so far that he's willing to do absolutely anything. Why would we not think that he's going to do this?
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you do host one of those Zooms, please let us know. We're happy to amplify it for you. You've got lots of folks in the chat asking about it. So
Yeah.
um, definitely want to know about that. And thanks to everyone in the chat. You all have been amazing today. Please, if you're not already subscribed to This Will Hold, please subscribe. We would also welcome your subscription here at the Daily Whatever Show.
Yeah.
We're here every weekday, same time, same place. And I thank you to Yanni for stepping up and moderating in the chat today. You've done an awesome job. We really appreciate you as well. So I don't know.
Thanks,
Go
T.
forth and save this democracy, I guess.
Yeah.
Fast and fun. Yeah, this will hold. Absolutely.
This will hold, and wishing you all the best. We know you're on a big health journey, and sending all the good health and love and light your way,
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
of course.
All right.
Okay, and thanks for having me.
Thanks,
Y'all are-
T. Thanks,
course.
everybody.
Take care, all.
Bye.
Love you, mean it. Bye.